Hello there guys, it's MarthaMew here, and today we have a new POKÉMONDAY match. So today's match is a Noivern and Zoroark deck, which you can see me mulliganing right now, and Matt is using his version of Evolutions today. So we get a chance to see some new Crimson Invasion cards in both of the decks, but more so in mine. No, actually, because they're Shining Legends, aren't they? Zoroark, but there you go. Some new cards either way. We have updated these with trainers though from Crimson Invasion. So we shall see those go off and see how they play, and maybe whether, if you were considering putting them in your deck, whether you think they work well as you see them played here. So after my first mulligan, I actually do get something this time, so I'm deciding what to put out in active. I have a Hooper, an Eevee, and the Miraculous Shine Espeon in my hand. I decided not to put the Hooper out immediately because I decide it depends what he's got on his side of the field, I think. So yes, me forgetting to put my GX counter out, I'm sorry guys, but yeah, I shall try and make sure I tell you when I'm using my GX. Not that it probably will be obvious. I don't actually know if I use it during this game. Yeah, that's fun. Anyway, both starting with Eevee with Yveltal on the bench for Matt, and my Espeon EX on the bench for me. I can see Matt's agony in having drawn the Sylveon for turn, so his energy evolution isn't going to go off because he knows he only runs one, so there's no point in going through the deck for it. And we see a Professor's Letter getting a darkness, psychic energy and a darkness energy. There we go.
There's a reason why I chose not to do energy evolution. Because you blatantly can see that I could have done the energy evolution, but I chose not to.
Chose not to do the energy evolution because you knew you had it in hand.
No, I could have gone into Espeon or Umbreon.
We could have.
Yeah,
you wanted Sylveon.
Yeah, because I needed that search.
Okay, so Noibat from the top deck onto the bench, and I chose to obviously play the Hooper after seeing the battle on the bench and the Eevee straight off. See, I know Matt does run other things in the deck, so it's yeah, it might not have been needed to go down quite yet. So I'm using Skylar, which I think I use a nest forward so I can get Zoroark on the bench, I believe. Oh no, Professor's Letter, because I don't know that there's any in my hand. There we go. New information. Obviously taking a good look through my deck anyway. Obviously leaving my deck face up because I'm going to use Energy Evolution on the Eevee to evolve it into my own Umbreon. There we go. So the tactic here is basically do enough damage with any of the other Pokemon and then use Espeon's Miraculous Shine to devolve them, and because Eevee only has 60 HP, if I devolved the oncoming Sylveon, it would knock out the Eevee. Unfortunately that obviously means I only take one prize card because I'm looking at the Eevee and not the Sylveon, but it's still a knockout and puts an Eevee obviously into the discard pile, and therefore we can't evolve right in the future unless he's got another one down. So there we go, evolving the Eevee into the Sylveon that he had in his hand. Obviously choosing to do Sylveon because that's a really good option at the start of the game. He couldn't attack during the turn he would have evolved it anyway, so it made sense to wait a turn in any case. Happening to have a DC in hand, and I think chooses to go for the Fairy Wind for 110. So there we go, putting the damage on my Umbreon, my poor little Umbreon.
I would have searched, but the circumstances changed.
yeah, having that Sylveon there with a diversity of, oh yeah, I can search or I can do some damage, especially when he manages to get the DC that early, is pretty good. Yeah, you can see obviously the 30 damage from the strafe, which I decided not to switch from in the first turn. It does say you may switch, so I can see me weighing up the Kukui, because I'm not going to do, because I only need to do 30 damage before Espeon kills the Eevee from underneath there, so I don't need the extra damage from the Kukui. I was just wondering whether I should just, you know, add a few more cards into my hand. But you can see, Matt knowing what I'm doing here with Espeon, he conveniently has an Ace Roller in hand, which scuppers all of my plans. There we go, playing the Ace Roller, which takes any Pokemon with damage on it from the field to the hand. Obviously Matt can then play the Eevee back to the bench, but can't obviously evolve it into Sylveon this turn. But he can use a different energy to evolve it into a different Pokemon, because Energy Evolution even works on the same turn that it was played. So there we go, evolving into Espeon this time, because Sylveon's usefulness has gone slightly dry. Now it's a few turns in. A Miraculous Shine would leave him open to a bit of damage before he could search things, and obviously I'm not entirely sure if I do run hand disruption cards in this deck. It's just basically not the way I like playing, guys. It's literally just my own choice. Probably not as competitive of a player for that reason, so but still I like doing what I like doing. I'm not actually sure whose turn it is. Mine, clearly. Deciding to retreat the Espeon by paying the energy cost, coming back into the Umbreon, and I'm sorry, I'm a slow player, guys. And choosing to Ace Roller. So doing an Ace Roller straight back, getting rid of that 110 damage. And
which makes me wonder why you paid a retreat cost for the Espeon.
Well, because I didn't want Espeon in active. I didn't want Espeon inactive, that's why. Because if I get rid of the active Pokemon with damage on it, then it obviously acts as a retreat kind of thing. Yeah, the Umbreon in my deck happened to be right at the very back as I was scrolling through, so I was starting to be a little bit terrified that I'd thought I'd seen Umbreon but hadn't. But it all ended okay. I can't switch out with the Hooper right now because it's got a retreat cost of 2, I believe. So I'm stuck with it there and with no energy and no way to switch it right now. Matt obviously thinking, oh my gosh, how can I get around Hooper? He can't hit the Hooper with anything he has. Anything he has, actually. I think no, I think he runs the Oblivion Wing Yveltal, which possibly might be able to. I think that's in this deck. I'm not sure. I don't think we see it, or he definitely doesn't have it right now. But obviously, there are other ways that he can knock Pokemon out. He has the Espeon on his bench, which the GX move for that is Divide GX, which puts 100 damage counters, well, not 100 damage counters, 100 damage, 10 damage counters anywhere that he likes. Of course, because Eevee has 60 and Noibat has 50 HP, he can't take 2 knockouts here, he has to choose one. Or just put all of the 100 damage on one of the GX or EX Pokemon. In fact, I believe because it's damage counters, it might have been, I'm not sure, might have actually been able to hit the Hooper, but it would be pointless to do that because nothing else could finish off the Hooper. So it was definitely a better play to knock something out, and the Noibat being the primary target because he knows exactly what the Noivern can do. But of course the other way that Matt can hit the bench is to find a way to get Umbreon out on his side again so that he can Shadow Bullet onto my bench. Of course it is a very slow 30 damage at a time, but if I'm stuck doing no damage to him inactive with Hooper, then there's nothing I can do with that. But you can see here I've got a DC in my hand that I'm thinking about attaching to the Hooper, and I think I may even just keep it inactive for now. Yeah. Playing the Kukui there, obviously not to do damage this time, but to draw cards and maybe giving me something that I could use to switch out, and then obviously then putting the DC not on the Hooper but on the Umbreon to do a bit more damage to the active Pokemon. Of course I'm out of harm's way currently because Hooper is inactive and it can't be hit, and we don't currently have anything on his side of the field that can do bench damage. Might as well use his turns that he has to power up the Yvel. I think I've top decked the Zoroark, which goes down onto my bench immediately. Adding Darkness Energy to Hooper so it can actually attack this turn. Kukui for the extra 20 damage and the draws this time. Clearly thinking about putting something else on my bench here. Nest Ball. Possibly for another Zoroark. Do run 2 Zoroark in this deck. Oh no, a Noibat. Possibly because he managed to knock out the other Noibat. And using Super Psybolt for 100 damage as the Kukui added the 20. The base damage on Super Psybolt is 80. So it will take me another 2 turns to knock out this Espeon unless I were to top deck a Choice Band. Putting that DC there on the Yveltal. Still no way of getting into Umbreon for Matt, he needs to see another Eevee. Passing the turn because obviously can't hit the Hooper. And there we go. That was why I got the Noibat, it's because I had both of those in my hand. I think I'm playing Gladion there. Unfortunately the light kind of blinds you there, but that is a Gladion, that is why I'm looking at my prize cards. Checking what I've used, because I think there's something in the prize cards that interacts with my discard pile. I think it was a Lusamine. I think that's actually what I decided to grab. And then Gladion goes into the prize cards, and the prize cards get shuffled and put back. So obviously I've used the supporter for the turn in using Gladion like that, so I can't actually straight up use the Lusamine straight away. You can see that I only have used 3 cards in his discard pile. choose to add another energy to Espeon, because obviously the Espeon in Matt's active is currently in range for Espeon to knock it out, which I choose not to do at this point because I don't know why, to be quite honest, but there you go. There we go, Matt finally getting an EV to put an Umbreon onto his bench. I think I may have chosen not to use Miraculous Shine because I can see that there's no current way that Matt can get past my Hooper. Yeah, it was easier. Well, it was a nicer exchange for me to want to take out the Espeon, which gave me 2 prize cards as opposed to getting only 1. Passing his turn after putting the bursting balloon on there, so if I want to knock out this Espeon, I'm going to have to take 60 damage, which is fine. Like I said, I don't think the Hooper can be hit in any other way, so the Hooper's not going to move. The Hooper's not going to be knocked out, I don't believe. I do have a trade at my disposal, which is Zoroark's ability, so you discard 1 card and then draw 2. Using Skylar. Eyeing up that stadium card. I'm just revealing it there, I'm not actually playing it at this point because I realise that it will obviously help him. Matt putting it into the position to be played, but I was only revealing it. So choosing obviously to take the 60 damage and KO the Espeon for 2 prize cards instead of the one I would have got from the Miraculous Shine. Yeah, the obvious place to put the Umbreon into active so that in a couple of turns you can start doing Shadow Bullets. Obviously unlucky enough not to have another DCE in hand. Enhanced Hammer on the DC on the Hooper, so the Hooper can no longer attack. Not enough energy on the Umbreon to do Shadow Bullet, so losing that. And a Enhanced Hammer straight back to the DC on the Yvel on the bench. And using Glutamine to get back, I believe, an Ace Roller and a Professor Kukui. There we go, I remembered the Ace Roller. So right now, guys, I think Matt is on 5 prize cards and I am, as you can see, on 4. Having used Glutamine, obviously you can't use the supporters you get back with her in the same turn, which is the only downside, but of course it does give you 2 supporters back to your hand as opposed to Versasika, it used to only give 1 that obviously could be played immediately, but yeah, it had a trade-off, obviously. I've seen people using Puzzle of Time basically, like Versasika could get 2 of them, but yeah. I think Glutamine is a solid supporter, it's definitely not too bad. I'd definitely run one of them in a lot of the decks that we play. Eyeing up the the Stadium card in my hand. I don't think I should play Devoured Field right now because I can't actually do any damage with the Hooper, so it would be a little bit funny, but there you go, I do anyway. I think it may be because I'm going to choose to switch soon. And I know that there's hand disrupting cards in Matt's deck, and I don't want him to end me and get rid of the Devoured Field. I need it. I'm putting the Fairy Energy onto Umbreon so that he can use Shadow Bullet. Chooses not to put the extra damage on the already damaged Umbreon, but putting it on the Espeon instead there. Choosing to Ace Roll the Hooper out of the active as my way of switching basically, and then putting Hooper back down. And I think this is where I misplay pretty hard, but luckily my deck decides to behave for me after that. No, not quite here. There we go, Strafe, which didn't need the extra energy to do. Obviously it's its first attack, it only needs 1 Darkness Energy, but Strafe putting 30 damage onto the, 40 damage because of Devoured Field onto his Umbreon. So another Shadow Bullet putting another 30 onto the Espeon EX. Me amazingly top decking a switch. And I'm going to use the same tactic again, I think this time. Going into the Espeon possibly, or I may not, I'm not sure. Yeah, that's where I misplay. I put the Darkness Energy on the Espeon that really doesn't need it. I was thinking, well, if I get stuck with it inactive, then I can use its other attack. But I really should have put it on the Hooper, because I know there's a Stadium card in my hand that says anything that has a Dark or Psychic Energy, I think it is, on it can retreat with 2 less energy cost, which would mean that the Hooper could retreat for free. So that was a huge misplay, and I should actually have put the energy onto the active Hooper. I know that is the biggest misplay I make during this game. So now obviously, unless I top deck something to get Hooper out of active, yeah, that's all I can do. So another DC going on the Yveltal and a Shadow Bullet onto the Espeon. Now at 90 damage. So I top decked, I believe it was a Guzma, which of course is, it's a bit bad because obviously you need to Shadow Bullet on the Umbreon, can do 100 with the Devoured Field out, which is how much his Umbreon has got left, but me using Guzma will swap the active on his side, so I don't actually do the 100 to his Umbreon. So actually, I think yeah, maybe shouldn't have done that, but still. Oh, I think I know what I decided to do here, because I know I've messed up. I still have that Stadium card in my hand, so I can retreat the Umbreon if I need it, but obviously it'll make the Pokemon do 10 less damage, and yeah, it's basically just scuppered my plans, but still. Me realising the Evil Ball wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because it doesn't actually do all energy on his side of the field. It's that's the Darkrai EX I was thinking of. It only does it to both active, which is I mean, still as much damage because my Umbreon has got 3 energy on it as well. But in any case, yeah, I can see the Stadium card is changing, so I can retreat the Umbreon into the Espeon, and I Miraculous Shine to get rid of the Umbreon. So the Umbreon goes to the hand, and all the other cards go to the discard pile. There you go. So, just because I didn't see Matt's sleight of hand just taking the Umbreon from the discard pile. He was very clever doing that. So there we go. See, Matt just left with the Yveltal in play now. So Evil Ball obviously KOing the Espeon, which has got I think 170 HP as well actually. So it was obviously already taken 90. So yeah, Evil Ball is a KO. I'm just checking his hand to see if we can do anything else and checking the maths just to make sure, but it's definitely a knockout on the Espeon. I know you can't see the third prize card, guys, but Matt does only have 3 left, I think. I'm not sure, but in either case, it's either 3 or 4. But he doesn't take all of his prize cards right now, so. Oh yeah, there's 2 more there I can see. Just underneath the one that you can see, there's another one. I'm sorry guys, my cameraman's skills aren't as fantastic. So choosing obviously to put the Umbreon with a lot of energy on it into active, and an energy on the Zoroark. Using trades and discarding a Zoroark to draw 2 cards. Enhanced hammering the DCE that I got from the trade. Being Shadow Bullet for 90. I don't believe Matt can KO the Umbreon or anything else on my field in the next turn. I think the only thing he maybe could have KO'd is the Umbreon on my bench, possibly, by some miracle, but there's no energy on my Umbreon, so it's not actually helping him with that. Yeah, at this stage I believe there's no going back. There's only one Pokemon that he has in play, so he has nothing to fall back on. Obviously, prize card wise, taking out this Yveltal wouldn't usually win me the game, but there's no bench Pokemon, so I think when Matt passes his turn, playing the Guzma, I think obviously Matt realises that it's a bit of a pain that he targeted the one thing on my bench that had free retreat. Doing 60 damage with Evil Ball, with the 2 energy on his active, doing 20 and then 40, and then the base damage of Evil Ball is 20, 30, 60 damage. It's obviously free retreat on my Noivern, so I believe I have an energy in hand. And yeah, I could, I think, even have put in an energy on Zoroark and knocked that out as well. Knocked it out with that. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the new cards being in play, and I'll see you guys next week for a new POKÉMONDAY match. Bye!